This is Sky Blues Extra.
Hello and welcome to the first ever Sky Blues Extra live. We're joined with myself and Dean, and we're here this afternoon to discuss the fixture against MK Dons in the Carabao Cup. How are you doing, Dean?
Yeah, good, thanks, Dave. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, although I've got some nails a little bit shorter perhaps than they were at the start of that 90 minutes.
That's great to have football back, isn't it?
No, it is. It's fantastic to have it on the screen. Great to see the Sky Blues run out in the new kit. But an interesting first half, Dean.
Yeah, it was quite an odd start to the game. We just never really got going. We weren't at the races. I didn't think for the first sort of 10 minutes, and they should have scored after 2 minutes definitely. Great save by Morosi. I think it was Giles was at fault for the first 10 minutes. He was out of position quite a lot, but then he grew into the game and he got a lot better. So yeah, he was one to look out for. But yeah, it was just odd, wasn't it? It was just a really, really odd start to a season.
Well, I think it felt very much like pre-season, didn't it?
Yeah.
It was. It still had that feel, and I feel a bit like that until supporters get back in the ground.
I was just about to say that. I think the crowd, the atmosphere, just makes it feel like a pre-season game. Yeah, definitely.
It does, and it must feel very odd for the players. And Coventry City, obviously, today did start a little bit slow. Couldn't really get on the ball that much. Quite a few sloppy passes in the sort of first opening exchanges. But what did you make of Robbins's team lineup today?
There was probably a few differences I would have probably put out there. I mean, I've got the lineup here. I mean, if you look, I would have probably played Rowe with how he's played the first couple of games, and maybe had Pascal at centre half instead of Drysdale.
Sure.
That'd probably be my changes, and maybe Shipley. Shipley didn't really get going a lot today, did he? And maybe we missed Kelly a little bit too much in the middle of the park. But they would have been the only changes for me. I thought Rowe did a lot during those especially the last two games, and against Peterborough to be included. But obviously it wasn't to be. And Robbins had faith in this team.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because we had a whole host of transfers that obviously ourselves and Sky Blues Extra followers have been excited over the season, summer term, and only one of them making their full-fledged debut today, and that was Gustavo Hamer. What did you make of his performance today?
I thought he was okay. He showed glimpses of what he could do. Again, it's a different brand of football in the UK to what it is in Holland, and he was probably caught in possession a little bit too often. And that's going to happen in the Championship quite a lot. They're a bit more in your face, a bit more intense in the middle of the park. So he's going to have to be wary of that. But that's something he'll learn from. But yeah, I mean, overall, it wasn't great. Let's be honest. There was probably high expectations from the whole of the team, and it just wasn't really there. But
yeah,
we got the win. You play
exactly.
bad and win 1-0. Who cares?
Yeah, and if you can do that throughout a season, then it's going to be great. It'd be interesting to hear some of our followers' thoughts. Do get in touch. It's actually just Sky Blues Extra live to join in with today's conversation. And if you do want to actually come and join us in the studio, do drop us a message on Twitter, and we'll do our best to get you on. But yeah,
we do have a comment from Danny on Facebook. What a performance by Morosi, world class. Yeah, some great saves by Morosi, real top class saves. But his passing wasn't really at the races again for the first 20 minutes. He gave the ball away quite a lot, and I think Nombe had an open goal, didn't he?
Yeah, it was very interesting, wasn't it? Because I think Morosi, we know that he's got good feet at times.
Yeah.
But we've in the last couple of pre-seasons, he's had a couple of occasions, and obviously Ben Wilson as well, most recently had one. And it's whether we're just not moving that ball that little bit quick enough, because it is a style that we should be absolutely comfortable with now. The players must be on board, having played that style of football throughout the title-winning campaign.
But he got frustrated a few times. You could see he was frustrated with the defenders in front of him. They weren't moving into position to play that pass out quickly. He was visibly frustrated, especially second half. There was twice. I think he had to go at Josh Pask. He just wasn't in position. And that's the brand of football we play. We get the ball out quickly, and the defenders are not in position for him. what can he do other than boot the ball up the field? And, you know, we've only got Matty Godden up there, and okay, he can control the ball pretty well, but he's against Dean Lewington, who's a big, strappy centre-half, although he doesn't normally play centre-half, but Godden against him is pretty much a mismatch, so it all stems from that, really.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously there was a big decision in the first half. It was quite hard to see from the camera angle at Sound City, and from the replays you couldn't see. Obviously you're not getting the benefit of those close-ups, but I'm not sure. It was a tough one, and it would be interesting to know what again our followers think about the red card decision. How did you see it?
I thought it was quite harsh, but if you come from behind a guy and he comes across you, 9 times out of 10 the ref's going to give a penalty, and it was just the unfortunate position of he was the last man. He didn't make an attempt to defend, and therefore has got to go. If you give a penalty, you got to give a red in that position. But it was harsh, no doubt about it. But then again, you look at the ball being played over the top. That happened twice before the penalty incident, and Drysdale was completely out of position for both of those occasions. And obviously, it happened again for the penalty. So he was warned. He had previous, so it's just unfortunate. And he'll miss the Bristol game now. But Michael Rose was on the bench, wasn't he? So, and we got Ostergaard to come back.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not looking too terrible. I just thought they were a little bit slow out the blocks today. Whether that is, it's been a bit of a crammed pre-season campaign. Yeah. It feels like, I don't know if that feels the same for yourself, but it does feel like we've really crammed in quite a few fixtures in the last couple of weeks.
I think we've probably played more games during this pre-season than we've ever played in the past.
Yeah.
Especially so close together as well.
Yeah.
It was a prolonged, obviously, pre-season, so maybe the effects of that are starting to show. But we do have a week now until Bristol. And of course, we wouldn't normally have a cup game before the season starts. So that's something a little bit different. And the intensity is different in a cup game to a league game. So, you know, hopefully we'll come this time next Saturday, we're celebrating another win, but who knows?
Exactly. And we spoke quickly there about the red card, and that was followed up with a fantastic penalty save by, Morosi, who I've always thought that he's probably he's never been. I can't remember how many penalties we did have against ourselves last year, but I didn't actually fancy him going into it. Wasn't the best of struck penalties, but he still had work to do.
I mean, you say that, Dave, but he makes some unbelievable saves in the 1v1 situation. So what difference is it when from 12 yards to a different position in the penalty area? So it's quite a weird situation. But yeah, I've never felt comfortable with him behind a penalty.
Yeah. And what are some of our followers saying, Dean? Is there anyone else that's contacted us on SkyBluesExtra Live?
Yeah, we've got a couple of comments here. This one from Glenn W. Walker scoring on his debut bodes well. Can't see him and Godden working together though. And I mean that showed, but that there was a chance the second half when Walker was put through, wasn't he, on the left side, and he brought 2 defenders close to him, and Godden was absolutely free in acres of space. He had to play him in.
Yeah.
It's a simple, and a man of Godden's ability, he's going to finish that straight away, isn't he? So that did show, but it's very different. Like, because we were down to 10 men, you can't say that Godden and Walker are not going to work together because we've got one man less on the pitch.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you saw where O'Hare was for that last 20 minutes when Walker was on the pitch, he wasn't even involved in any sort of attacking third.
I think we have got to mention that as well, because it can quickly be forgotten that the Sky Blues were down to 10 men today.
Yeah.
And still ground out a victory. Didn't let that many chances, if you like, actually in. And they got behind a few times, and there was a few clearances where it felt a little bit last ditch. But other than that, we were pretty assured.
63 minutes with 10 men as well. That's a long period of time. And, for the first game of the season as well, they'd have been puffing and panting for sure. So there is that to take. That's a positive. But we lose a man and see to be a better side like we did against Portsmouth when we lost 2 last year. But
exactly, it seems to spur them on and give them a bit of a challenge. But just bringing that team sheet up again, then, Dean, and let's try and have a look from Mark Robbins's point of view about what changes that may happen between now and obviously the first league game, which takes place on Saturday versus Bristol City. Of course, Morosi is going to start in goal, you would think, and I'm sure he will after that penalty save and his display today. But let's just look at that the wing backs and the back 3 or 4, depending on what Robbins goes for. It would be a surprise to see him change that wing back formation. So, if we say that that's what he's going to go with, what would you see changes from that side today?
I'd see Kelly come in ahead of
Yeah.
Shipley. I think we just lose a lot in the middle of the park when Kelly's not there. He's just a calming influence on the ball, and he commands a lot of his area. So that's one change I would make. Pask is not an out-and-out wing back. He's not a right back. He's a centre half. So that's a question mark there. But who else have we got over then? Maybe Burrows or Rowe. Was he saving Rowe to give him his debut in the league? It's a big call if that is the case, especially against Bristol. They've got some great wingers. And I do have a feeling he'll start with Bakayoko next week.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a bit interesting, isn't it? Whether he is going to sort of continue with those wing backs that played today. It's that right wing back position is a big sort of bone of contention, I think, and he's got a week really to have a good think about what that's going to look like. He's got options, of course, and Pask defensively possibly didn't look as comfortable as he is going forward with the ball.
Yeah, going away from home in the Championship is different to going away in League One. So whether the sort of Godden, Allen, O'Hare mix will work away from home in the Championship, I'm not so sure. That's why I think Bakayoko will probably start, and we'll probably look to counter-attack and pick up the scraps when we can.
Yeah, exactly. And we've already sort of discussed Hamer. Shipley was probably a little bit off it a little bit today.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we had O'Hare that obviously started. Very busy. A lot of fouls against O'Hare today, and he's
very tenacious, isn't he?
Yeah, he doesn't stop working, does he? But there's a few uncharacteristic sort of misplaced passes from him today. But at the same time, I think it's just going to take time to click, isn't it? No one's at full pace. No one's at full match fitness, as they say. We've had a couple of players on the podcast say that they've come back from lockdown, if you like, as fit as ever. But it's that match fitness that is the key, and that playing that 90-minute. And
that will come over time.
Exactly.
But one thing I did want to bring up, we didn't really get those triangles going in the attacking third today.
Yeah. You saw it in glimpses, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I'll say once or twice we did get going, and we got the ball moving quickly. But it wasn't as fluid as last year. But that's going to come with match practice and match fitness for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And I can see a comment on there from our new podcast sponsor, Shortland Horn.
Yeah, Giles looks great. Walker looks like he has more pace to the front line, which is probably true. Giles, as I said, for the first 10 minutes he wasn't in the game. His positioning was poor, but he grew into it and had a great chance in that first half. And so did Allen. Don't forget, he had a really, really good chance, and that was a really nice slick move towards the end of the first half. There was a ball played into the box. Unbelievable first touch from Allen. He had 2 defenders either side of him, and he sort of got the ball away from his feet from both of them, and just pulled his shot slightly. So, but that was good play. And yeah, Tyler Walker with the pace, that will be a telling factor in the Championship. It's a lot faster paced action, especially sort of the centre halves are a lot faster and a lot more nimble and agile in the Championship.
Yeah.
So that's something we're going to have to come up against that.
And Bakayoko had a really good chance at the end of the game, and probably should have scored.
2 chances, 2 bites of the cherry, shall we say?
Yeah.
He could have been only 19 goals left for his total.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it'd be great to see him get to that magic number of 20. But he definitely put in again, always leaves it out on the pitch. It's something I've always said about Amadou Bakayoko. He does always give his all. And today he put the defence under a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
and had a few chances, and I think looked really sharp actually in what was only a small spell.
I don't think anybody has a go at his work rate. His work rate is always up there, 110%. He fights for the cause. He fights for the badge. I think the question mark with Amadou is the finishing and getting into positions to finish. He's not always in the right position at the right time, so that's my only question marker against him. And Dave Simpson, great comment here. Still unbeaten in 2020. How good's that?
Yeah, that is very, very true. And it's it's going to take a bit of time to gel. I
Yeah.
don't want to sound negative at all. We've just beat MK Dons, okay, a young side in throughout that they fielded this afternoon in majority. But they did have a bit of control over the first sort of exchanges. But I wouldn't say we ever felt that we were in any, grave danger this afternoon. We always looked fairly comfortable. There's a few times when there's that last minute. I think it was just a little bit at times, a little bit slower, a little bit sloppy perhaps. But that again, we've already spoke about match fitness, and it feels a little bit that's what may well be lacking.
You said they were in control. When you look at the stats, I mean, they had 68% of possession.
Yeah,
against normally that's the absolute opposite for us.
Well, exactly. We've always controlled games, haven't we? Home or away. At last season, we were always very confident on the ball and didn't give anyone a sort of chance really to build and put us under pressure. But 68% to 32, very uncharacteristic from the Sky Blues.
Yeah, only 3 shots out of 14. That's not a great turnaround for the on-target stats. And offsides, 8 offsides. Matty Godden was out of position at least 6 of those 8, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's again
kept trying to play those balls over the top.
Without benefit of the cameras, you can't see if it's Matty Godden having to hold on that run, or if the ball didn't get delivered quick enough, or if it was just the fact that he sort of strayed offside. I think sometimes, as much as offsides can be frustrating, it does look like they're always trying to make that run in behind. And therefore, you are going to get caught offside. But I think it's sounds really stupid thing to say, but a good omen in a way that actually he's trying to get in behind, and the way that we've set up possibly on the training ground is to play that ball and clip it in and turn a defence. And I think that's going to be really important in the Championship. To be getting Championship defences to turn around and chase back to their own goal, because no one likes to do that.
No.
And that's where we're going to, hopefully pile on the pressure with these sides.
I think that's what they tried with Milton Keynes today, because they had Dean Lewington, who normally sort of plays that sort of midfield maestro role. He was playing centre half, and he was just sat there on his own trying to dictate play, and he was playing balls in between the lines. But his central defensive partner was pushing on, so there was a massive gap there. So Godden was trying to get into those gaps, but the ball into him wasn't either 1 good enough or 2 quick enough, and therefore that's why he was offside. But as you say, we're going to play more teams where that opportunity to get those little direct balls into the corners is going to become apparent during the season.
Yeah,
so we've got to learn to play another way other than the tiki-taka style that Robbins likes to play, and that's what got us out of League One. There's going to be the opportunity to play a little bit different. So we've got to have that plan B in place. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. And is there any more comments coming back?
Yeah. This is an important issue. This right back issue. It's not good while we haven't got Dabo. I think you see how much he means to the team.
Yeah.
And how much we look so different on that right hand side without him in the side. And obviously, I don't think Pask is a right back. He's definitely not a right wing back. He doesn't get in the positions that he needs to in the attacking third to be a wing back. We have Burrows, but he looked out of place in the Rangers game against a decent opposition. And then obviously the young lad Blaine Rowe, who's played really well in the last 2 friendly games. So he's an option, but whether Robbins is going to throw him in at the deep end next week in our first Championship game, I don't think he will. But I'd like to see him. I'd like to see how he can cope with that. And of course he'll have Ostergaard there on that right hand side of the back three, so that will give him a little bit more cover.
Yeah, exactly. And I can see now we're getting a fair few comments. Don't forget to join us here in the studio. It's just hashtag SkyBluesExtra live, and it'd be great to hear some more of your comments, especially about that right back decision, and what Robins perhaps has to do with that. It'd be interesting to hear your thoughts, and also about the sort of dugout dilemma for Robins of the strikers. Now, Walker has done more than you could ever ask of a striker to do on his debut, and scored. Okay, it was a bit of a scrappy goal, but it showed an eye for goal, didn't it?
Yeah, this is a perfect comment from Chris about, it was his first game, brand new
Exactly.
team. He's
Yeah.
only been with us for a few days. Probably is lacking fitness because Forest probably binned him out to not train with the first team, something along those lines. And yet, to score on your debut, it doesn't matter who you're playing for. Scoring on your debut for a striker, that will do you the world of good. It gives you so much confidence. So yeah, that's something to take positives from. We've got Godden who can finish. We've now got Walker who can finish.
Yeah.
And he's also got a bit of turn of pace about him. They are very different players in that respect.
Course. Yeah, of course. And it did look like he really sort of, he wasn't scared to shoot, was he? As soon as he came on, as that one that got deflected, and that one that got, just clipped over the bar because of a block. But again, it just shows shoot on sight, and you do have to have a shot to score a goal. As stupid as it sounds.
Yeah, but that is true. Yeah, if you don't shoot, you don't score.
And there's a lot of teams out there, and I think last season we created so many chances.
Yeah.
You hope that if that's the same, then Walker and Godden should be carrying balls away from the change rooms every week.
I think that Glenn brought this point up, and we were talking a little bit a while ago about playing more direct, and that's probably why Sheaf's in. It's definitely the reason why he has been brought in.
Yeah.
Mainly those direct balls in the corners. He's going to play those kind of passes. And if you have Walker and Godden there, if we do play the two up front, I'm sure Sheaf's the man to unlock that sort of difference between where Godden and Walker's positioning is to the defence, and he could play the balls in behind into feet, and that's why he's there.
Yeah, I did think that Hamer actually, though, he does feel like he's going to get his foot on the ball and look for those runners. I was really impressed with him, actually. As soon as he's got the ball, it's sort of out of his feet, and he's looking around for options, or he's already aware of where the players are running and clipping it there. So I think Hamer, as he comes and grows into the game a bit more and grows into the squad and gets to understand, again, it can't be reiterated enough that this team, is by far very much changed from the title winning side from last season, and it's going to take some time to gel, and it's going to take minutes on the training ground.
Yeah, and he's a very different player to Walsh in that respect as well, because Walsh had that little turn of pace. He could move in. He was at a low centre of gravity. He could move around quite quickly. Hamer's a little bit of a different player in that respect. He gets the ball into feet, can control the sort of tempo of the play, and then move around. And you can see that MK Dons had done their homework on him. They had two men on him straight away after about 10 minutes.
Yeah, and I can see we've just had one more comment in there about a win being a win. It's very true. Joey Coombs makes a really good point there. Again, as we've already said earlier on in the show, it's a win, and it's through to the next round. We did it within the 90 minutes with 10 men. We didn't have to take it to penalties, and the subs, made a really huge difference today.
And the draws tomorrow.
But Kelly and Sheaf to come in on Saturday, Dean, that's interesting. Who comes out?
Yeah, I don't think you can. I mean, Shipley probably is going to drop out. I don't think his performance today merited the start next week. And it's who do you bring in, Kelly or Sheaf? I wouldn't bring in Sheaf to play with Hamo, because that's two new players in the Championship. Both never played in the Championship. Whereas Kelly has a little bit more experience. Okay, he only played 10 games in the Championship.
Yeah,
but he's got the experience of the league.
A little bit going to get a bit used to. It's going to be a big shock to the system, I think. Championship football, especially for some of these players that have perhaps been overseas, that may have seen a little bit more time on the ball in the middle of the park. And Hamer does give me that impression that he's probably been able to sort of boss the middle of the park quite a lot, and had a bit of time to do so.
Look how many games we've got until the end of October.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, squad rotation is going to be absolutely key, because you can't play the same team every single week.
No,
we're now going to have a Carabao Cup game in between Bournemouth and Brentford.
Yeah.
So that's another game to add in there. So we've got. That's why we have this big squad, and there's going to be rotation. And it's just all about finding the right players to play with each other, really.
Yeah, exactly. And it's great that so many have already joined us here on our first Sky Blues Extra Live.
This is fun. Bring in your comments, more comments.
Great to get some comments, and it'd be great to get a bit of more conversation around perhaps what you would do before next week. Robbins has got a week to decide what. That's a very good point. We appreciate that. Who knows? With so many exiting Sky Sports, then let's hope that we might get a nod for when we have to do the championship fixtures. But no, he's got a week now to sit back and think about who he's going to start in that first game. He's had a bit of a glimpse of perhaps Walker now in a competitive environment.
Yeah,
he obviously knows a lot about Matty Godden and what he can offer and what he can give to the side. It does look like there's probably very few changes from the squad that started today.
Yeah, it's probably one or two.
Yeah,
and it's probably going to give him a headache because how does he sort that right back situation out?
Yeah, it's a very.
Is he looking at a loan? He said he wants one or two more, didn't he, after he bought Sheaf in?
Yeah, he has mentioned that.
With what I think one of the young lads is going out on loan, isn't he, to Iceland, which is kind of a random move.
It is a random move, but you get experience where you can.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, and you can go see the what do you call it out there? The green lights in the sky. What do you call it?
You could go and see the. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it, to be honest, because I'll make a big fool of myself. But interesting enough, actually, when we had Klaus Jorgensen on there and other players that we spoke to on the podcast, it's been quite actually, and Gary McSheffrey, who left England and went away, and it was very, very tough to go away from home.
Yeah.
But at such a young age, from a professional point of view, I think it will really, really help and improve him, because he's notably going to get homesick, like we all would.
Different brand of football too.
Different brand of football, exactly. We've got a really long comment here from John, so I think we'll bring that one in because that's a good one.
This might take up the whole screen. There we go. Can't see our faces. Probably a good thing.
Here we go. So couldn't believe the red card and penalty for a slight clip, if that. So we did touch on that at the start of the show, didn't we, Dean? And we said that we couldn't really get a very good angle on that with the one camera of iFollow. But last man,
we'll have 4 cameras next week.
4 cameras back in the championship. But that last man, if the referee believes it is and it stops a goal scoring opportunity, then he has got to walk. But it did seem a slight clip. And as he approached the player, as he went in for the tackle, he kind of put his hands up to sort of, notion that he was letting the player go and allowing him to get his shot off. And it's just a coming together. But it's in the penalty area.
If you're standing here and the bloke comes across you and you move this way, it looks a bit weird on camera this way. I probably should do it like that. But if the player comes across you, 9 times out of 10, anywhere on the pitch,
you can't stop dead.
It's a foul.
Of course it is.
And because he didn't make no attempt to defend as such as the laws of the game would state, he's got to give a penalty. And last man, he's got to go. It's as simple as that. Although it was harsh, no doubt about it. It was a harsh decision.
Yeah, Chris has a couple of great comments from Chris, so we appreciate that. And I know he's not in the UK actually. I know he's from over the pond, so. Great to get some international viewers in on our first Sky Blues Extra Live. But do you think Mark Robbins will still get another striker? Is this the position he was on about? Can't see it.
No, I don't think he will. Now we've got sort of 4. If Biamu goes, potentially he'll need someone to replace him. But he's probably going to rely on Bapaga at some point during this season, who's looked sharp in pre-season. And it's about time we probably give the lad a little run in the side at some point. The Carabao Cup might be the opportunity to do that next round.
Yeah.
So that might be something to look at. And I think what we need to be careful of is he doesn't go down the sort of Ponticelli route with Bapaga. In relation to he's in and around the squad but doesn't get into the team.
Yeah.
I think Bapaga is a very, very good talent, but he's very raw.
Yeah.
And the only way he can sort of get out of that rawness is by by giving him games, and maybe that now the Carabao Cup is the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, no, I agree. He reminded me. I know it sounds really, big praise to give on a player, but he had that rawness about when sort of Wayne Rooney first came on the scene.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
playground attitude, foot down and just go past in players, and he wasn't scared about the occasion. And I know it was only a pre-season friendly at
Yeah.
Peterborough, and there was other games as well, but just that sort of, I think, like you say, it's very raw. It's a very raw style of play, and he just doesn't seem to, he's not phased by anything. Very quick. He's able to ghost round players, follows the ball. Very important. You see a lot of players that they don't continue their run and whatnot. So I've been really impressed with him, and I really hope that he develops and continues to get some senior appearances under his belt, because I think they'll do the world of good.
It's quite interesting, this comment from George about we have too many players for certain positions now. I think we're probably overloaded in midfield, like he says.
Yeah, very light at left back.
Yeah, left back, right back. It's very, very odd. Mason will get a run in this side at some point. There's no doubt about it. And there might be an opportunity when we move. We'll probably move to a back four at some point for certain games, and that's when Mason will come in. Because again, a bit like Josh Pask, he's not a wing back. He's a left back. Pask is obviously not a right back, but his opportunity will come. But we are short. Giles is really, really attacking, but does he give you the defensive capabilities as Mason?
I'm not sure he does.
No.
Yeah, so I'm not sure he does.
We're a bit light in those positions. It'd be nice if we had someone who could play on both wings.
Yeah.
Someone who's a bit versatile to play on both wings. Someone maybe who'll cut inside, which would probably do well for us if we get someone who cut inside on in the wing back position, because we don't put that many crosses into the box. It's normally little intricate passes in. So that might be an opportunity for Robbins to look at.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I just want to take a moment, Dean, just to speak to our followers who are watching and will hopefully join us throughout the start of the season, especially while we're in lockdown and unfortunately, sadly, not able to go to the ground and watch the Sky Blues live. That they can actually join us in the studio on audio in a similar style to a phone-in, if you like. We'll invite followers on to come and join in with the conversation, take their views. Sky Blues Extras is all about the fans' view, and it's a fans page, and we want that's the thoughts and feelings that we want, and we want to hear from as many of you as possible. And indeed, do make sure you join us on the show and in the studio when you do get a chance at the start of this season. We've got an interesting comment by James Hawker. It's not related to the game, but I do want to bring that up because we've been talking about Bapaga, of course, who is going to be developed.
Oh, this one, sorry, I looked at the wrong one.
And have that. That's all right. No worry. You keep me guessing. But City developed up to League too fast for Ponticelli, which is a shame. It's just I thought it would be an interesting topic to talk about. Ponticelli scored a couple of scored against Notts County, obviously with that back heel, and never really got a great run in the team. But if you remember the goals that he used to score on the pitch, he really did, didn't he? He scored so many on the reserve football, if you like, every week. When you saw the tweets coming in from Coventry, it seemed to be Ponticelli every single week.
It's very different football, though, isn't it? Sort of that sort of Premier League reserve to actual proper matches. And we were in League 1/League 2 when he was looking to break into the side, and he was probably built up to be this all-out amazing striker that was going to save us from exile or something like that.
Yeah.
But obviously it just wasn't to be the case, and we had 3 managers or so under for Ponticelli to work under, and neither of them really fancied him.
Yeah.
So that says a lot to me. They see Jordan day in day out.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
we see him in headlines or whatever. That he scored 4 goals in.
And also I feel like, of course, and it's very natural, but I think the City fans, with him being a local lad, it gives him even more, if you like,
we have that natural bias towards him.
You do. I think, and we all want a local lad to do well, and we know, you look at Jordan Shipley, and it's just, that is the fairy tale, footballer career, if you like, in that he's playing for a club that he clearly loves. And it would be lovely to have a few more of them, albeit football's very much changed now from when you used to get your players from down the road. But of course, Jordan Shipley, he wears his heart on his sleeve, and it is fantastic. And it would have been great to see Ponticelli obviously emulate a player like that.
Listen, we all want the best for local lads.
Yeah.
If they're not at Coventry, then let's see them do well at other clubs. Wilson, Madison, two prime examples. And Wilson rejecting a move to Aston Villa is probably one of the best things I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? It's great to see that the still sky blue blood running through the veins
exactly.
there.
But let's be honest here. Best of luck to Jordan Ponticelli at Wrexham this season. Let's see him prove everybody wrong, prove all the doubters wrong, and let's see him come fire Wrexham back to the league. Yeah,
and before actually this afternoon's game, it was one that I wanted to get the thoughts of some of our followers actually at home. Is the starting 11 and what we think Mark Robbins' best starting 11 in. And we've got a comment from George, who he says the best starting 11 is Morosi, Dabo, Hyam, McFadzean, Rose, Giles, Kelly, Shipley, O'Hare, Godden, Walker. It's not too dissimilar, is it, from last season, bar Walker.
But that sort of lineup there would put a lot of emphasis on O'Hare to be the opener between midfield and the attack.
Yeah.
So, we don't want him running out of steam, running up and down the pitch, because it's very much a box-to-box sort of position now as that number 10. You can't just stand there and hope balls come into you. That's just not the way the number 10 plays anymore.
Yeah.
So there would be a lot of reliance on him to be the key in between. And it's interesting not having Hammer in there or Sheaf.
Or Ostigard.
Yeah. I think Ostigard will probably come into replacement Fadzine because his legs are not going to last the full season.
No,
he will play a lot of games, but he won't play.
Yeah.
But he won't play every single game.
Of course he will, and I don't think we need to emphasise how much love there is for McFadzean, especially what we've seen from players on the podcast. You talk from Kelly, you talk Bakayoko, Matty Godden. They've all said, haven't they, when they've joined us on our podcast, that McFadzean is just an absolute, must-have in the changing room. He's been there, he's done that, he's seen that. He's been at that level, and I think he's going to play a massive, massive role, not just on the pitch, but obviously off the pitch this season. But there's going to be times when I think you're right. Championship's electric, and I think there will be times when he may well, he's going to have to sit out and take a break.
But John makes a good point here. Without actually seeing the likes of Sheaf and Ostigard in action, although I did watch Ostigard in action yesterday, he looked handy, very, very strong in the air. Doesn't take any prisoners, so he's one to look for going into that starting 11 for sure.
Sure, it would be interesting to get people's thoughts from at home on this also. But who has impressed you the most, Dean, so far from the players that have come in? And I know not all of them have played, of course.
Yeah.
And Ostigard, I think it's very, very difficult to judge, but you can get a picture. But if we go through, we've had Marcel Hilsner, of course, who we know has been reported as struggling a little bit at this moment in time. We've got Tyler Walker, Hamer. I wouldn't really count O'Hare because
we had him for a season. He was basically ours anyway
last year. Trying to think of other players that have come in. Da Costa, obviously, we can't have. But comment on that.
But great news that he's only going to be out to about November.
Yeah, exactly.
Now
it might have been long.
I saw Da Costa in a match. I was in France 2 years ago, and I saw Da Costa live. I saw him live. Yeah,
were you ground hopping in France?
At some ropey League 2 French League match, and he looked good. He looked strong and aggressive, which is really good, and we're going to need that. And he perhaps if there's an opportunity where we're going to go up against like a really nasty side, like a Millwall, perhaps.
Yeah.
You have a Da Costa and Ostergaard there, and McFadzean. They're just going to absolutely mullet every single person.
And a Hamer thrown in that will just chip away at people's ankles, even when they've ran past him.
So I've got a little bit of experience with Da Costa, so I like the look of him, but that was obviously 2 years ago. Hamer, though, is the one for me. I think he's going to be the standout player. He's going to be the Walsh replacement. He's going to be the one that's probably going to get the most sort of man of the matches, the assists. He's going to get the big talking points, especially with the Sky cameras. They're going to focus on him.
I absolutely agree. He's a man that makes things happen. He's a man that you can tell is comfortable on the ball.
Yeah.
He wants to make things happen. He's on that swivel all the time. You can see it every time he receives the ball.
It's like an owl.
Around. He is a bit like
spinning around all the time. He's like, where's my players? But yeah, he's one to look for.
I agree. And funny enough, we've just had a comment in here that Hamer, I don't know. I think CWR have called it.
Yeah,
Hamer.
What was that about? Hamer.
I think Hammer.
It is Hammer.
I think it depends on when you're from geography, but I think he will be a real steal. I think
transfer market. I say that we bought him for about 1.35 million. From what I was told, it was just under $1 million with add-ons. So, it looks to be a great deal.
Yeah. No,
especially let's say 2 years time, he's absolutely tore the Championship up. We're not in the Premiership, but he's probably our standout player, and we're going to look to move him on. You look at the players that move from the Championship to the Premiership this season. These players are going for like 10 million. 10 million to a club like us is going to be absolute fortune in a couple of years' time.
Exactly.
So you've got to speculate to accumulate sometimes.
Of course, and every position you can achieve in the Championship obviously that comes with its rewards. In League One and League Two, it's not a massive difference from what I understand and believe. Obviously, from promotion, of course it is, but that one space and one spot. But in the Championship and the Premiership, the reward for getting that little extra spot is a lot more financially, from what I understand. Anyway,
this is a very interesting comment. Would you spend the money on Hammer and Sheaf instead of Walsh?
Yeah, that is very interesting, actually.
I think we're seeing Sheaf play. We can't really answer
it. I put a poll out on Twitter right now to get you some actually stats and not just us two, because I think that's a question that really deserves. But to get two players, for me, for a start,
squad
who
build.
They're gonna to get two players for the price of one for a start is a benefit, because it's a long old season and it is going to be a really relentless Championship calendar. But I would also say Hammer. Are we going for Hammer?
It's Hammer. It's not Hamer, because he'd have an accent over the A.
Okay, we're going for Hammer. So Hammer for me is a player that is a little unknown to English football. There won't have been that many people scouting the league that he was playing in, I would hope, at times. And if he has a good season in the Championship, he is going to have
skyrockets.
His price tag is going to skyrocket. Whereas you look at Championship rivals, they don't seem to fancy Walsh, do they?
Yeah, but you look at I think Walsh will be back next summer, assuming in the Championship, and he's not. He hasn't been a regular at Bristol City for 3 years.
Yeah,
they've had various managers there. Lee Johnson basically chucked him out the door. Didn't want anything to do with him. The assistants come in. I don't think he's had a look in pre-season, as far as I've heard. I know he's maybe got a little injury, but you think if he was in their plans, then he'd be playing all the time. Yeah. And obviously we're always going to have that connection with Liam Walsh, but at the end of the day, he's gone. He's one of many players that have gone through the revolving door at Coventry City, and now we have to look forward.
Yeah, exactly. And to move on to that back to that point as well, Sheaf, we don't know how that will work out.
Yeah.
It's I've never understood this. It's a very interesting one, and I would love anyone in the comments to come and help me understand this, as it's a loan with not an option but an obligation to buy.
I don't know how this has come about, because
is that been
if it's a loan, that means
come out, or is that?
Well, Robin said it yesterday in his pre-match press conference.
Sorry, yes.
But I don't understand how them terms work, because effectively, that means Arsenal are paying for the year's wages.
Yeah,
Because generally they'll put you all might pay a percentage, but
I'm
they'll.
sure we've paid a
So
percentage.
have we absolutely swindled them to get a free year of a player?
Because if it's not an option but an obligation, what is
Why don't we just buy him anyway?
I don't know what Arsene Wenger does if he's still involved. Maybe he is the bailiff at Arsenal, and he's going to come round at the end of the season, knocking on Robin's door, saying it was an obligation to buy, not an option. I just don't understand it.
Yeah,
but
it's
I'm
a strange
intrigued.
one because you think just get him in the door now. I know there's
Yeah.
I mean Glenn's saying about the certain amount of games to trigger the permanent deal, which is true, but we still got the obligation to buy him. I'm not sure the games amount's going to be that high. It's going to be 15, 20 games,
Yeah.
and he's definitely going to play that amount.
Yeah, in a relentless fixture list, we keep going on, and actually, Dean, let's just bring up that fixture list for everyone at home to have a quick look at, and talk about that big five. I know we talked about it on our fixture list reaction video, and yeah, we're launching a lot of different videos on YouTube, and it'd be great for the guys at home to go to YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, of course, and follow us on there because there's some great content that we're looking to do, and we've already done the fixture list video. But that first five fixtures, it's just it's a relentless fixture calendar in October. Bristol City going to be a very tough fixture to go away to.
Yeah, the bookends of that isn't looking that great with Bristol, Bournemouth, and Brentford. But the two games in between are the ones for me where we've got to look to pick up points. Like we said in the fixture, that's where we've got to sort of kickstart our season. And if we get anything away at Bristol next week, which is going to be a tough place to go for every single team in this division, not just us because we're new. It's every team in the division are going to find it tough at Bristol. It's always a tough place to go. So if we can pick up anything next week, absolutely fantastic. But it's those games against QPR and Barnsley we need to really hammer home and get those points in the bag.
Yeah,
and now we're going to have a Carabao Cup.
Queen's Park Rangers is a big one, isn't it? Because we've got to pick something up from that. Really, I feel.
Did they lose today?
I'm going to let you. I can see you darting round.
Yeah, I've got me on the screen. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure QPR lost today.
Yeah, this is where we will fall down without having that live.
I've got two screens up here, and I'm trying to get everything going. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they lost today. I'm pretty sure I saw that. So that's not a great preparation for their start of the season. Norwich also lost today.
Really interesting enough. Who did Norwich play? Sorry, my ignorance.
I am not so sure. Let me get live score up, and I'll tell
just
you
while
exactly
you're doing
now.
that, Glenn Watkins said that Queen's Park Rangers lost 3-2. I hope that's right, Glenn. Thank you for that. And another comment in here then from George Hayes. I think we'll answer this one.
Norwich lost 3-1 to Luton. James Collins hat-trick.
Interesting.
Another Coventry kid doing well.
That's not going to be some happy Norwich fans then. But George Hayes, let's just bring that one in if we can, Dean.
About Godden, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. So, guys, do you think Godden will become ever more isolated this season, playing against tougher defences? Would we be better starting with two on top? I'm just not sure if Robins' Sky Blues, where they've sort of dominated that midfield and had those players in there, could afford to perhaps have one drop out from that middle of the park.
Yeah, it's very different playing with two and one in behind than playing 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Because it just, the way sort of the midfield and the attack sort of work together, it's very different. You'd be relying on one player to make the move in between the lines.
Yeah.
So, it's a very different way of how Robins would want to play. But that's an option. And
do we think Godden and Walker are different enough to play together? We know Mark Robins obviously previously had that sort of Bakayoko, Godden, or Max. When he did go two up top, and he didn't do it that often, but he did it at times. I think was it Bolton at home last season. Perhaps he changed it and went two up top. He only really did it when he was forced in terms of fixture and been under pressure to pick up a point or the need of a goal.
But generally, you do it with the little and large, wouldn't you? You do it with
Bakayoko. I know
and
very, very traditional, but
yeah.
It does feel like it would be a sort of Backer and Godden or Walker than a Godden and Walker for me. But I'm sure plenty of you at home will be thinking.
I think it becomes an option when Sheaf's playing, because with Sheaf there, they're going to have this player who's going to be able to pick a pass out in the corners, And if them two are going in different directions, that gives Sheaf more opportunity. And then if O'Hare's sitting in behind as a 10, that gives him the opportunity then to move in between the lines. So that is an option. But I don't see it happening a lot during the season. I think we'll stick with what we've got as much as we can. But it was interesting because if you think last season, MK Dons was the place where we left that game 0-0. It was absolutely dire. Godden we just lost Godden for, what we thought was for the season at the time, and we played 4 at the back. MK Dons had no strikers, literally not one striker in their team or squad that game. We came out of that game and we thought we are hopeless. We have got no idea how to attack these football teams. We went back. We left the game. I rang CWR and I said, why are we not playing 3 at the back? So I am taking absolute full credit for why we're not playing 3 at the back with 2 wing backs. We've got the players to do it. And it's really interesting that see how far we've come since a year ago.
Yeah.
We're such a different side now.
Yeah.
We're relaxed on the ball. We look for the intricate passes. There's a real cohesion between all sets of
triangles.
Sets of
they
the line.
play those triangles like we talked about. Lovely, don't they? And we saw it again today in snippets. We saw it, and I suppose we should go back on a final note before we sort of end this evening and give anyone a chance to make any final comments that they wish. And you just use the comment section.
I'm with you,
there.
George. That was the worst game last year.
But no, I think going back to the fixture today, to sort of sign off, I suppose, this evening, it's a win. We're through to the next round, which I think, importantly enough, actually, it gives Mark Robins a chance to play some players that perhaps he wouldn't be able to experiment with in the Championship, which to me is going to be huge. With still, I don't think he's sure on what his best 11 is.
No,
and how could he possibly, with so many players coming in such a short spell and this near to the season to start? It's a very different season this year with what's happened with the extended season from obviously the coronavirus pandemic, and that's obviously pushed things back. But the players will feel like they've not had a real break at all, and we've sort of squeezed a lot of players in, and again, Robbins is saying that still maybe 1, 2, or even 3 more to come in. Seems like it would probably be 1 or 2.
Yeah.
I'd hope personally that would be a left back. I think that we're a little bit short there, and of course maybe the other side as well.
We'll always have areas of the pitch we're going to be short on. It's just how we deal with the situations. And we've obviously got Mason and Giles there, so we have to play a system that suits the players. Yeah.
But to summarise, and I think to bring...
Listen, we won 1-0.
Exactly.
It's 1-0. We start the season. Bring on Bristol City. Let's go.
Exactly. And exactly it. 10 men could have easily gone the other way, a spare man. Especially when you look at those possession stats. It looks like, actually, we've done a really solid job by not having the ball. But you're not gonna have the ball, aren't you? When you're 10 men. And I think it's very important to look at the facts and the black and white facts of today's game. We lost a man very early. We played over 60 minutes, Dean, with 10 men. Okay, we encouraged.
Get used to those possession stats this season.
Yeah.
That's going to happen a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Sky Blues fans. Dean's just taking it down, but I'm sure he'll bring it back up for us to have a look at the stats today. But 68% possession, 32. Indeed, as Dean says, get used to seeing that. It's not something we saw a lot in League One of, but we've got the players to keep the ball. Down to 10 men. Tyler Walker coming on for his debut and scoring on his debut. Great link-up play in parts with, I think, Hammer. O'Hare. Allen. And of course, always looking for those runs. Yes, Matty Godden offside more times than Darren Huckabee in a fixture today. But in my opinion, it's a great sign. He's looking to make things happen, and he's looking to make things do.
I think performance was great. We won 1-0. Happy days.
Yeah, let's move on to next week, and hopefully we do see a few players come through. Well, a couple perhaps come through the door before the whistle goes against Bristol at Ashton Gate next week. Do join us again. I hope you can for the next Sky Blues Extra Live, where we'll go through and get as many comments as you, and also invite some of you,
And you can
onto
join
the
us.
studio. Join us. Come and have a chat. We want to get as many fans' points across as we can. Healthy conversation, healthy debate, whether you agree with us or not, and
That's
whether
what debate's all about.
that's what debate is all about. And we can't wait to have you guys on. And please do join in. And as we say, as always, if you've got anything that you want to share with us in the week, all you need to do is use the hashtag SkyBluesExtra, and we'll make sure that we try and include as many of your comments as next week. And I just want to say, actually, from a really shameless plug, that this weekend we've got a free post offer on our brand new website. But no, of course, if you do,
I don't have one of those
merchandise-
T-shirts yet. Anybody, by the way, I don't have one yet.
Exactly, Dean. It's free post this weekend, mate.
Oh,
Go
great.
and get yourself, pop it in the cart and buy it and wear it out for your next trip out. But no, if you guys like any of the merchandise, what that does do is supports a lot of our costs that we're ever having and ever increasing through having to have equipment like the ones that we're using today. But please do, and any comments from today's first live Sky Blues Extra Live, please let us know, and we'll try and use the feedback positively and amend. But I think let's just on the last point, Dean, bring out the stats again with the one that does matter. On the right hand side, you'll see it is a Coventry City 1, MK Dons 0, and a debutant goal for Tyler Walker.
Play on, Sky Blues.
Exactly, and thanks ever so much for you guys at home joining in.
Cheers.